What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be talking about some college football in this video. We had the Eagles and the Cowboys play last night. As you guys can see, you have to rock the Cowboys hat after that game. They impressed me. They put up a fight. That was a close game that, honestly, I feel like they had it in the I think they had the game, man. That fumble in the red zone and then that drop from CD killed them. It is what it is. Got to take the L's with pride, but I'm super thankful that it was at least a good game for the opening day of NFL. We got the Chargers and the Chiefs playing tonight. Game hasn't started yet. Trying to get this college football video out a little bit earlier. We do have a pretty big slate for Saturday. It's not quite as good as the slate we had last week for college football. Last week was stacked with some good games. We've got some good games in this one, but like I said, not as good as last week. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go over my money lines and my favorite plays for my favorite games on the slate. I'm not going to go over every game, obviously. It would take too long to do that. So I picked 5 games. My 5 favorite games we'll go over. Then we're going to go over some player props in this. So I'm going to give you guys some props for prize picks, some props for parlay plays, sleeper, underdog, wherever you guys do want to play them. Before we do any of that, I am going to pick a winner from our last video to win a free month of VIP. If this video gets 200 likes, I pick a random comment down below to win a free month. So if you guys do want a chance at free VIP, drop a like and a comment on this video. Another huge thing I'm going to start doing in these videos every single week, guys. If this video gets 500 likes, I am going to drop our VIP kicker slip for free in the free picks in the Discord. All we have to do is either get the college football or the Thursday or Friday night football games to 500 likes. If you get one of the 3 videos to 500 likes, I'm going to drop the free kicker slip. And I do a kicker slip every single week. We do 10 to 20x slips on these, and we smacked them last year. Last year, it was nice, and hoping we can have another good season with some of these kickers. But they won't always be kickers. Sometimes I might drop like a 10x or something for you guys. If you guys can do that, that's like quarterbacks or just regular slips. You guys know how some of those lottery slips, 6-man, stuff like that go. But anyways, I just want to say that if you guys can get it to 500 likes, I'll drop it for free in the Discord. Let's go ahead and pick our winner from the last video. So winner is going to be for Free Game Trapper 360, who said great vid. Well, Free Game, send me a message on Discord. Just message Ryan Fantasy Aces or Fantasy Ace, and I'll get you added for that free month. I do appreciate the love and support from everybody, as yesterday's video blew up. Most views we've had in a long time, and I am super appreciative and thankful for you guys. So I do want to show you guys some of our wins from the opening day of NFL. So we had Saquon Barkley rush attempts with Javonte Williams, rush yards, that cash for a nice little $500 slip. We had Brandon Aubrey and Barkley, 75 for 168 over on Prizepicks. I'm showing this L because it was a tough beat for me. I had Aubrey, Prescott, and Barkley together, 75 to win 225. Prescott needed 210 passing yards. I gave that pick away for free. I want to show you guys I did play it. I'm taking my L with you guys on this one. It was close. That drop from CD chalked this slip. So it is what it is, man. A 34-yard pass he had. Dak ended up with 188 yards. It would have cashed easily. We do have the Cowboys spread, which cashed, with the Jacksonville Jaguars +3. This is a teaser we ran. I put $650 on this one to win $500 on Bovada. We also played Cowboys +14.5 with a teaser over 41.5. This cash, put $650 on this one. We profited $500 on that play in VIP, as well as Barkley and Lamb on underdog, and then Prescott and Jake Elliott over on Prizepicks as well. So nice little day on opening day of NFL. I'm hoping the whole season stays great. Hopefully we can have another good NFL season this year. If you guys do want to join our Discord, it's absolutely free to join the Discord. Link's going to be down in the description. There is a WAP link as well. If you guys do want to get every single play I post, every money line, every sports book, whatever, every player prop, then you can get it by getting our VIP, which is either $25 a month or $10 a week. Less than $1 a day for either one of those packages. If you guys do want to join, link is down in the description. We've got 18,000 members in our Discord. We would love to have you guys a part of it as well. You can get a free month of our VIP if you sign up for any partnered app. They're all linked down below. Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard, Parlay Play, Better, Novig, and Dabble. Any of those 7 apps get you a free month. Use our code, let me know, and I'll get you added for up to 7 free months, guys. But that being said, enough rambling. Let's go ahead and take a look at this slate, guys. So a huge slate, like I said. The first game that I like, one of the best games on the slate, in my opinion, Baylor taking on SMU. This is a good game with a 63.5 total. This is a very, very high-paced or fast-paced game. It's going to be a shootout. Baylor +133 underdogs playing in SMU. SMU -135 favorites, -2.5 point favorites. Let's see what the public has this game going. So You can see 78% of the bets and 44% of the money are on SMU. So there's actually more money on Baylor winning this game over SMU, and then more people taking SMU. So take that with a grain of salt. It's up to you guys. This is week 2. Baylor had a pretty tough opening game versus Auburn last week. SMU, not so much. Had kind of a gimme game last week where they dominated 42-13. So Baylor might be in more of a groove than SMU in terms of competitiveness. Looking at the spread on this game, 74% of the bets are on SMU and 37% of the money. So 63% of the money are on Baylor to cover the plus 2.5 point spread. And then you got the over-under on this game. You got 78% of the money and 42% of the bets on the over on this game. Let's go ahead and click this. Let's take a look at the matchup for this season. So this is 2025 season. You can see Baylor lost their first game, and sorry, your boy's head is itching a little bit. But anyways, you can see Baylor obviously lost the first game versus Auburn. They lost 38-24, where the Mustangs won 42-13. We've already talked about this. So let's take a look at some of the first game stats for Auburn versus Baylor, because I think this is a big indicator. I'm not going to take a look at Kevin Jennings from the last game. Obviously, you guys know Kevin Jennings if you watched football last year or watched college football last year. Jennings is a very good quarterback. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. This offense is a very fast-paced offense for SMU. They barely lost to Clemson in their bowl game. They got knocked out in the first game to Penn State in the playoffs, but they made the playoffs. Very good team in SMU, and I expect another pretty good season for them this season as well. Looking at Baylor versus Auburn, the game ended 38-24. Auburn kind of put a whooping on Baylor. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of people on Baylor. Jackson Arnold was held to 108 passing yards that game, 11 for 17. But the thing is, Jackson Arnold didn't need to run to pass the ball. 137 rushing yards. Damari Austin, 84 rushing yards. Cobb, 74 rushing yards. Like, they ran the ball down Baylor's throat. Jackson Arnold with 137 rushing yards is absolutely crazy. I will say Baylor had good offensive success as well. Sawyer Robertson, obviously a very good quarterback, 419 passing yards. It's just one of those things, man. Like, if they gave up that many rushing yards to Auburn, what do you think SMU is going to do? SMU can throw the ball, but Jennings can scramble the ball as well. If they're going to give 140 rushing yards to Jackson Arnold, I think Kevin Jennings is going to be the one to have a good game here. My personal opinion on this game, I'm running with SMU. I would just take SMU money line on this. I'm not going to take the spread. You got minus 135. I'm going to run with SMU on this game. I think SMU takes the win at home. Baylor just didn't show me too much in week 1. They could come out here lights out versus SMU this game and dominate. I just don't think it's going to happen. I like the over, or I'm not going to say I like the over. I like the total in this game at 63.5 as a player prop game, because it's such a high-scoring game. A lot of overs on player props could cash, including Sawyer Robertson and Kevin Jennings plays, which we'll talk about player props here in just a minute. But I just want to say that my first pick of the day is going to be for SMU moneyline, minus 135. So the second game that I want to talk about on this college football slate is going to be Ole Miss taking on Kentucky in Lexington. So Kentucky plus 285 underdogs at home, plus 9.5 point spread. The total in this game sitting at 50.5. Let's take a look at the public betting on this one. You got 93% of the bets and 70% of the money on Ole Miss winning the game, as well as 82% of the bets and 92% of the money on Ole Miss covering a 10-point spread. Ole Miss currently ranked 20. Kentucky, unranked. Both teams ended up winning their first game of the season. So let's take a look at how they won their games. So we're going to take a look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss took on Georgia State in week 1, and it was a blowout, man. 63 points for Ole Miss versus 7 for Georgia State. Austin Simmons threw for 341 passing yards, as well as their backup, throwing for over 400 passing yards total. Ran for 295 total rushing yards. They did give up almost 200 rushing yards to Georgia State, as well as 69 passing yards. So defensively, Ole Miss wasn't looking that great. 69 passing yards and 191 rushing yards, 260 yards pretty much total offense, which, I mean, it's Georgia State. Georgia State's not that dangerous of an offense anyway, in my opinion. So Ole Miss really didn't show too much, giving up 200 rushing yards. Now, that being said, man, do I think Kentucky can come out here and beat them? I think they can, but I don't realistically think they're going to. Now, let's take a look at Kentucky. Kentucky played against Toledo. Toledo, obviously, no powerhouse. Toledo has a pretty good offense. Kentucky ended up beating them 24-16. Zach Calzada, Kentucky's new quarterback, did not look very good. 10 for 23 pass attempts, 85 passing yards, horrendous. But Dante Dowdle and Seth McGowan looked very good rushing the ball, man. They had 220 total rushing yards. Kentucky was moving the ball easily on the ground. When you look at Kentucky's run game versus Toledo, and then you look at how Georgia State ran versus Ole Miss, Kentucky might have a chance moving the ball on the ground. Now, I don't think Ole Miss's defense looked that strong. Passing yards wise, Kentucky's passing defense or passing offense looked horrible. Passing defense didn't look very good either. They gave up 270 passing yards to Tucker Gleason, this is Toledo offense. Like I said, pretty good offense passing the ball. They only ran the ball for 59 yards, but they were also trailing, so they're going to air the ball out a little bit more as well. Kentucky, in this game, I think could be a sleeper underdog. Now, I'm a Kentucky fan. I'm not trying to be biased on this at all. I know Kentucky's not a very good football team, but Ole Miss didn't show too much versus Georgia State in terms of it was 63-7. I really can't say they didn't show too much. They beat them by 56 points. That was a huge blowout. But regardless, guys, I think Kentucky has a chance in this game. I think they cover the 10-point spread. If you want to buy it up and tease it a little bit, take Kentucky plus 10.5 or something like that, and then maybe take the total under 56.5. Something you could tease it if you want to, however you guys want to do it. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do for this game, but I do think Kentucky keeps this game kind of close. I don't think it's going to be a 3-touchdown game or anything like that. So I'm going to give them a chance in this one. I'm going to trust my gut on Kentucky covering at home, and I'm going to take them plus 9.5 most likely. I will probably buy an extra point for 10.5. That way a field goal and a touchdown doesn't lose me on this play, but that's going to be my pick for the second game of the day, Ole Miss versus the Wildcats. So the next game on my list to talk about is going to be the Kansas Jayhawks taking on the Missouri Tigers. So we got Mizzou at home versus Kansas. This one's tough, guys. Mizzou minus 223 favorites at home. Kansas minus or plus 6.5 underdogs. The total in this game sitting at 50.5. The public on this game, you kind of got it split down the middle in terms of the money line. The spread, everyone's leaning towards Mizzou to cover a minus 6.5 point spread. The total in this game, you got 83% of the bets, 77% of money on the over 50.5, which I kind of like that line. And then for the money line, you got 30% of the bets and 56% of the money on Kansas. So this is a tough one. Kansas plus 205 might be a good move for an underdog if you want to play it a little bit risky. But let's take a look at these teams, guys. So Kansas won its first 2 games. One of the few teams with 2 games already this season. And we can come down here and take a look at their wins this season so far. 7-46 and then 31-7. So they dominated both games versus Fresno and versus Wagner. A combined score of 77-14 in their first 2 games. Quarterback Jalen Daniels. You guys already know Jalen Daniels if you're a college football fan. Dude's a great dual threat quarterback. Led the Jayhawks to a good season last year. And he completed 36 of 45 passes and has 456 passing yards this season already with 7 touchdowns. Dude is a beast. On the other side, we could take a look at Missouri. Missouri won their first game right here, 61-6. Obviously, that was a no-name team. It was an easy game for them. And it's still early college football, guys, so you have to understand it's hard to predict some of these tough games when both teams have played really. Fresno's not that good. Wagner's not very good. Neither team have played any competition. So when they actually play against each other and you got a tough head-to-head matchup, it makes calling a game like this very, very difficult. So, Jalen Daniels' top targets on his team right now, he has Emmanuel Henderson, who had 9 catches and 154 yards so far, and Cam Pickett with 8 catches and 106 yards. Daniels also has rushed for 65 yards, giving the Jayhawks another weapon to go by. Obviously, dual threats quarterbacks. Lots of weapons for this Kansas offense. Mizzou, I think, is going to have a pretty decent defense. I don't think they're going to give up a ton to Kansas. Mizzou did pick up Bo Pribula, who came from Penn State last year, and he's now their head quarterback, who's another pretty good dual threat quarterback. Kansas is going to have to watch this run. They're going to have to watch the pass game as well. I think his first game he threw for – I got him pulled up right here. Let's take a look at Bo Pribula. So Bo – he threw for 283 passing yards in game 1, and then he rushed for another 65 yards. So 348 total yards for our man Bo Pribula right here. And then you can see versus Kansas, you can see Kansas's rushing pass defense for the first 2 games, 37th and 15th in the league. They only gave up 134.5 passing yards per game and 45 rushing yards. So Kansas's defense, granted, against some very weak teams, has not looked that bad. And honestly, I might as well do this for the other team as well. Let's pull up Jalen Daniels and set it to pass and rush yards for this season. And let's take a look at Mizzou's defense for game 1. So they gave up 73 passing yards and 154 rushing yards. Gave up a ton of rushing yards. Obviously, Kansas with Jalen Daniels is going to be able to move the ball a little bit easier than some of these other weaker teams. But tough game anyways, guys. This one I don't really have a definite answer for. I will say for me, with the line this juiced, let me find this game first of all. I hate when it that's why I don't like clicking the extra information on here sometimes. But anyways, picking a winner on this game with the odds the way they are, unless you want to take the spread, and I don't really like the 6.5 spread on this game, to be honest with you. I'd probably have to lean Kansas on a money line at plus 205 odds. Now, that being said, deep down in my heart, I kind of think Missouri wins this game, but I don't think it's by a large margin. I think it's a close game, and I'm scared to take them for the spread. Money line at minus 220 odds is a little bit too juiced. If I was going to parlay it with something and get plus money, I would take Mizzou. But in terms of picking one bet on this for the way that the value is, plus 205 looks pretty good with Kansas. I think they have a good shot at coming into Missouri and getting the dub. I think it's going to be a close game, and for plus 200 odds, it's a nice underdog that could come out here and get a win. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say Kansas plus 205. Do I trust that play a lot? No. I'd probably put half a unit on it max if I'm going to play it. But I do think that that game is a good underdog possibility. So the last game that I want to talk about before we jump into player props is going to be Michigan taking on Oklahoma. You can see right now Oklahoma minus 186 favorites at home, minus 5.5 spread favorites, and then the total in this game sitting at over 43.5. The public on this one, a lot of the public on Michigan, 64% of the bets, 53% of the money on Michigan to win the money line. And then for the spread, 54% of the bets and 42% of the money on Michigan to cover this 5.5 point spread. The over sitting at 43.5. Majority of the bets are on the under. This is probably going to be a pretty defensive game. Oklahoma and Michigan, both pretty good defenses. 15th ranked Michigan taking on 18th ranked Oklahoma. It's going to be a good game. One of the better games for this Saturday slate. And I'm looking forward to this one. My pick for this game, honestly, man, I'm taking Oklahoma. It's another gut feeling. This is kind of tough, like I said, to call some of these games early, especially games like this. It's probably going to be a lot of defense and not a lot of offense. I'm going to compare this to the Chargers versus the Chiefs game tonight. Probably going to be something similar like that. Not a very high-scoring game. Now, Oklahoma could come out here and sling the ball all over Michigan. I don't know, man. I don't think Michigan's going to do that to Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma has the better quarterback and the better offense. And Michigan really, even though they've been a good team the last few years, it's been a lot of defense, man. A lot of defense. And offensively, they haven't had a very good quarterback in a while. So looking at the two quarterbacks we have Oklahoma's John Mattier, I think that's how you say his name, and then you got Bryce Underwood for Michigan. Bryce Underwood will be making his first away game start in Oklahoma, so a tough game for his first away game. Let's take a look at Bryce Underwood first. I'm going to hit pass and rush yards here. That way we can see how Oklahoma did in the first game in terms of pass and rush defense. So Oklahoma gave up 34 passing yards and 117 rushing yards in their first game versus Illinois State. So obviously Illinois State not a very strong offensive team. Only 34 passing yards, man. They did not sling the ball at all. They ran the ball for 117 yards. Still isn't that impressive. If you look at Bryce Underwood versus UNM, had 246 passing yards, 0 rush yards. So 0 rush attempts on this one. We can come over here and look at yards per rush attempt. He negative 2.5. So how many rush attempts did he actually have this game? Rushing and passing plays. So 33 passing, 30 rushing. They ran. Anyways, I don't know what I'm trying to look for here. I was looking for how many rushes Bryce Underwood himself had, but apparently you got negative 5 rushing yards. So he had 246 total, and then his pass yards was 251. So he actually lost rushing yards. It's probably due to a sack or something like that. You can see it there now. It says negative 5. But anyways, guys, Bryce Underwood probably going to have a hard time versus this Oklahoma defense, in my opinion, when UNM held him to 246. Come in here and look at John Madeir on the other hand. So let's take a look at him. And I think I called him like John Deere is what I called him. That might be his new nickname, John Deere. So we got John Mattier right now, 416 combined rush and pass yards. He threw for 392, ran for 24 versus Illinois State. Take a look at Michigan's pass and rush defense. They gave up 217 passing yards in the first game and 50 rushing yards. So rushing defense still looks good. Passing defense, hard to say versus UNM. UNM obviously had to sling the ball when they're getting beat that bad. Oklahoma won 35-3 versus Illinois State, so another blowout win. Both teams with pretty successful games in week 1. This game's going to be tough. It really is. I lean Oklahoma on this game. I would take their money line. I don't trust their spread minus 5.5. I do trust them minus 2.5 or minus 3 to cover a field goal. But it's up to you guys how you want to do it. You can obviously play around with these numbers. You can run a teaser if you want. You can take the over 37.5 with Oklahoma like money line or something like that. Lots of ways you guys can do this. Me, in terms of picking a winner for this game, I'm running with Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's the better team. I think they're going to have a better season this year. I think they're going to be a good team this year, and I think they're someone to look out for. All right, let's jump over to the player props portion of this video. So I've got 4 picks that I like for the player props. I'm hoping they all cash. Some of these, like I said, week 2, guys, hard to call out of these. Some of these lines are pretty high, which we'll find out. I like to target some of these games that are higher scoring. For example, the Baylor versus SMU game, 63.5 point total, a game that's going to be a shootout most likely. Another game that I really like to target. So let's take a look at my first pick of the day. First pick of the day is going to be for our man Sawyer Robertson. So I'm taking the Baylor quarterback. Going to be a good game. I kind of lean SMU to win this game, so I think Baylor, once again, is going to be airing the ball out. I like his passing yards. You can get him up to 280. I'm going to take him on parlay play at 274.5, which ends up being a 1.73x. I like this line, guys. Look at him in game 1. 419 passing yards in game 1. Going against a team that gave up 244 passing yards in SMU. So they gave up a lot of yards. Baylor obviously had to air the ball out versus Auburn. Sawyer Robertson's a good dual threat quarterback. He struggled a little bit running the ball against Auburn. Last season, he averaged right at 236 passing yards per game. I'm expecting him a good game from him today versus SMU or tomorrow versus SMU. I think it's going to be a shootout, like I said, 63.5 total. They threw the ball 72% of plays in game 1. This is skewed, obviously. They're not going to throw the ball 70% of games or 70% of plays, I promise. They were just behind, and we're trying to get a win in that game that they were having success throwing the ball. So I like to play 274.5 for Sawyer Robertson. I'm going to lock it in a slip live. You can get it on Prizepicks as well if you guys do prefer to play it here. And I know I'm kind of getting through this a little bit quicker, guys. The NFL game's about to start, and I really want to watch it, and I'm trying to get this video out early. So leave a like on the video for getting it out early if you don't mind. Better value on parlay play. You can't get it at 275 right now on Prizepicks. So parlay play, code Fantasy Aces if you guys do want to sign up. That being said, who am I pairing him with? I'm going to pair him with the other side of things, Kevin Jennings. I'm taking Kevin Jennings for the same play, 249.5 passing yards. I think Kevin Jennings has to air the ball out. Now, he does have a pass and rush line, which you can take right now at 300.5, which is really, really high. Like I said, this game's 64-point total. I expect this to be a shootout. Let's pull up Kevin Jennings, which I will say, guys, Auburn ran the ball down Baylor's throat. They could not stop the run. Jennings is a very good dual-threat quarterback, someone who can run the ball. He does pass a little more than he runs the ball, and at 249.5, I like this line. I think he throws for 250. I think he could rush for another 50 as well if you guys do want to take the other one. He threw for 360 in game 1. 42-13 was the score on that one, so obviously they didn't have to throw the ball much. This is a game that Baylor could win. This is a toss-up game, in my opinion. I like both teams. I think both of them have good offenses. Neither of them play a whole lot of defense, let's be honest. You can look at Baylor's passing yards. They gave up 108 passing yards last game, but they did give up a ton of rushing yards. So if you want to play the rushing yards for Jennings, I think that's a good play as well. But I do think Baylor tries to stop the run in this game. I think they realize what happened with Jackson Arnold in game 1, and I think they're going to be a lot of practice this week to try to stop a dual threat quarterback from being able to run the ball. So I do think Kevin Jennings has some success throwing the ball in this one, and that's why I'm taking his passing yards. So they did throw the ball 51% of plays, which is about half the time. Obviously, they're going to run the ball a lot, especially in a game they're winning this much. So the percentage is a little bit skewed on this one. But Kevin Jennings, I like to play. I'm going to lock this in. This is a 2.56x if you want to lock it in yourself. I'm going to throw 250 on it, 1 unit. Now, bet is placed. I do have a lot of picks open for the NFL game, so I'm not going to go to track picks. I can't give away every VIP play, but they're in our Discord if you guys do want to join. Jumping into slip number 2, pick number 3 for the player props we're going to be taking. The first one's going to be Avery Johnson. I'm taking the Kansas State quarterback, Avery Johnson, another very dynamic quarterback for passing and rushing. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball, he can do it all. Dude's a good quarterback, and I like his rushing yards in this matchup versus Army. Look at Army. Army lost game 1. They gave up 200 rushing yards to Tarl. Like, they gave up a ton, man. They shouldn't have lost that game against a quarterback like Avery Johnson. Now, he only ran for 43 and 21 in his first 2 games, but those are against 2 teams he really, they struggled to win. They lost the first game, barely won their second game. This is a game where I think they're going to come out and win at home. I think this one, based off the way Army played last game, could be another pretty high-scoring game, but I think they're going to run the ball, and I think Avery Johnson's going to be able to give us some rushing yards. I bought this down to 39.5. If you look at it at 39.5 line, he did cash it his last game, where he had 43 rush yards. You guys can play it how you want. Obviously, I like buying these lines down a little bit to go for 2.5x usually. I like this line at 39.5, which you can get on Prizepicks. You can get it on parlay play as well. 1.5x payout. Not a bad payout for Avery Johnson. Now remember, if you take quarterback for rushing yards, sacks in college football are negative rushing yards. So if he loses 20 yards in a sack, that's going to be negative 20 rushing yards, which is tough in college football. But college football, some of these quarterbacks can scramble so much better than they can in the NFL. He could have a 30 or 40-yard run and just cash us in the first play. Like, it really can happen, especially against the team that gave up 200 rushing yards last game. So we'll see how Army bounces back in this game. Maybe they try to stop the run a little bit better. We'll see. But I do like Avery Johnson in this matchup. Who am I pairing him with? Dante Dowdle for Kentucky. Had to look at a Kentucky player in this one. If you want to fade it, I don't blame you. But I'm going to take Dante Dowdle for that same exact line, 39.5 rushing yards. He cashed this 8 of his last 10 games, 10 of 12 games last season. Look at him this season, man. He just had 129 rushing yards versus Toledo. He had 14 carries. He gives him 14 carries. He should be able to give us 40 rushing yards against Ole Miss. Ole Miss gave up 191 rushing yards in game 1. They did not stop the run very well. Kentucky does not have a very good quarterback. I think they're going to have to run the ball with success. I think Dowdle's going to get a lot of attempts. If you want to take a chance on Seth McGowan, another running back who had a lot of success, he actually had 18 carries rather than 14 for Dowdle. You can run whichever one you want. Looking at how Dowdle played last game, I just think he's going to get some extra carries this game. I think they're going to try to use him to their advantage in this game. Being a Kentucky fan, I'm going to be pulling for Dowdle. I like this play, 39.5 rush yards if you want to lock it in. So that's going to be the final play that I have for today. Dante Dowdle, 39.5 rush yards. It's a 1.5x. This gives us another 2.3x slip, which we're going to lock in. And you guys can see 250 to win 585. Dante Dowdle with Avery Johnson, both over rushing yards, 39.5 if you want to tell them. So that's what I got for today, guys. I know this video was very sloppy. Let me go ahead and be honest with you guys. I had to research this. I mean, the research was the same. The preparing the video after the research was done way faster than usual. So my explanation or explaining in this video is going to be kind of off. I don't have all my notes wrote down. I probably missed some things when I'm talking about the winning teams and stuff. A little bit sloppier than usual, but I am trying to get this out. The game, it's literally 8 p.m. on the dot right now. It is 8 p.m. right now on the dot. The game, this kickoff's happening right now. I got to get this video uploaded, but hope you guys have an awesome day. Join our Discord, and I'll see y'all in the next one.